Well, welcome everyone, and thank you for coming. Suppose you're watching this video and we've not had a chance to meet. In that case, I'm Tim Gardner, founder and wealth manager, wealth management services, spend about a half hour discussing what's new with Social Security and what that might mean to you. Social Security paid a substantial cost of living adjustment this year. We'll discuss how the COLA is determined, put it into context, and see what that means for you and your future Social Security benefits. Another number affected by the cost of living adjustment is the earnings test threshold. We'll discuss how much you can earn in 24 without having benefits withheld if you claim Social Security before full retirement age. Next, we'll discuss taxes. Why not? Including Social Security, payroll, and income taxes. You may have to pay taxes on your Social Security benefits. For those on Medicare, we'll review the new Part B premiums for 24 and explain why they're no longer as straightforward as they once were. We'll also cover some important dates to watch for in 24. I'll give you an update on the status of the Social Security Trust Fund and discuss some ideas for reforming the system to make it solvent for the future. And finally, I'll give you an update on some specific Social Security claiming strategies we've used with some of our clients. Let's start with a cost of living adjustment. In October every year, the Social Security Administration announces several numbers determined by the inflation rate over the prior 12 months. The most eagerly awaited number is the cost of living adjustment, or the amount by which Social Security checks will be raised. Another number is the new earnings test threshold and the maximum amount of earnings on which Social Security taxes are assessed. The cost of living adjustment for 24 is 3.2%. If your current benefit is $800, you'll get another $26 per month. The higher your benefit, the higher your COLA. If your benefit is $4,000, which could happen if you're a maximum earner and claimed your benefit at age 70, you'll be getting a cost of living adjustment of $128. 3.2% COLA pales in comparison to last year's 8.7, but that was an anomaly. Since 1989, the COLA has averaged about 2.6% per year. The Social Security trustees project a 2.4% COLA moving forward. The COLA is based on the Consumer Price Index for all urban wage earners. The Consumer Price Index, or CPI, measures the change in a basket of goods and services that a typical urban worker might buy. It covers food, transportation, housing, entertainment, healthcare, and everything people spend money on. The COLA is announced annually in October and takes effect with your Social Security checks that you receive in January. Even if you haven't started your Social Security yet, let's say you're delaying till age 70 to get a higher amount, the COLA will still increase your benefit. So when you claim your benefit, you can be sure it will be reflected in each year's COLA. Now, if this is of interest to you, you can learn exactly how the COLA is calculated by visiting the website below. Okay, so that's the first significant number change. Next, let's discuss the earnings test. The earnings test threshold is affected by the cost of living adjustment. If you are under the full retirement age and work and receive Social Security benefits, part of your benefit may be withheld. They would withhold $1 for every $2 you earn over the threshold, which went up to 22,320 this year compared to the 21,120 last year. The earnings test threshold is affected by the cost of living adjustment. If you're under full retirement age and work and receive Social Security benefits, part of your benefit may be withheld. They would withhold $1 for every $2 you earn over the threshold, which went up to 22,320 this year compared to the 21,240 last year. But trying to earn less money is not precisely the wealth building formula we'd recommend to clients. Suppose you're under full retirement age and have the opportunity and ability to work. In that case, it's probably better to earn as much as possible and delay applying for Social Security. The new threshold for the year you turn full retirement age is 59,520, up from the 56,520 last year. The higher threshold comes into play when you receive Social Security last year and you turn full retirement age in 2024. In the months leading up to your full retirement age month, one benefit will be withheld for every $3 over the 59,520. Once you turn full retirement age, no benefits will be withheld no matter how much you earn. While we're still on the earnings test, I'd like to take a moment and explain the monthly earnings test. This comes into play the first year you apply for Social Security benefits. So let's say you're under full retirement age. You file for Social Security this year and you continue to work. your benefit will be withheld if you earn more than $1,860 monthly. Then next year, you'll be subject to the full regular annual earnings test, the 22,320 adjusted for next year's COLA. Generally, we recommend waiting until you stop working to apply for Social Security so you don't have to deal with the earnings test. But there may be some exceptions, and we'd be more than happy to discuss those. Having said all that about the COLA and the earnings test, let's take a moment and discuss payroll taxes. The maximum earnings subject to Social Security tax went up to $168,600 from $160,200 last year. This means higher earners will pay Social Security taxes on more of their earnings. But remember that Social Security taxes represent a pretty good investment in the form of an inflation-adjusted income that lasts for life. The more earnings you have, the more Social Security taxes you pay, the higher your benefit will be. And remember, as long as you're working and paying into Social Security, your benefit will continue to be adjusted. If you improve your earnings record, your benefit may increase, even if you've already started collecting Social Security. Now, to see how the Social Security Administration calculates the earnings cap, follow the link below. The Social Security tax rate did not go up, so you'll still pay the 6.2% payroll taxes as an employee, and your employer will pay the same amount. If you're self-employed, you'll have to pay both parts for a total of 12.4%. Keep in mind, the Medicare tax did not change as well. It's still 1.45% on your earnings. Let's say you earn the maximum $168,680 in 2024. You'll pay $10,453.20 in Social Security taxes. If you're self-employed, you'll pay both the employees and the employer share of the taxes for $20,960. The Medicare tax will still be on top of that. That takes care of the payroll taxes collected to fund Medicare and Social Security. Now we'll talk about the taxes on your benefits, which are slightly different. Since 1984, Social Security benefits have been subject to some level of taxation depending upon your other income. This table shows the taxation of Social Security benefits based on various income levels. Now, income means provisional income, which includes your adjusted gross income, plus half of your Social Security benefits, plus any tax-exempt interest. Now, if your provisional income is under $32,000 for a married couple, no benefits are subject to tax. If your provisional income is between $32,000 and $44,000, up to 50% of the married couple's benefits are subject to tax. And if your provisional income is over $44,000, up to 85% of your benefits are subject to tax. The thresholds for the single pair are $25,000 and $34,000 respectively. Regarding married filing separately and living with your spouse, 85% of your Social Security is taxable regardless of your income. Note that these income thresholds were never adjusted for inflation, so more and more people must pay income taxes on their Social Security as the years go on. The critical thing to remember here is that up to 8% of your Social Security benefits may be subject to tax, depending upon how much income you have. If the law recently changed concerning RMDs. You may remember it used to be you had to start taking your minimum distribution from your IRA starting at 70 and a half. Then a couple years ago, the age was raised to 72. New legislation raised it to 73 beginning in 2024. Please let me know if you need some help figuring out exactly what your RMD is. You may have figured out your income tax situation, but you must start taking the required minimum distributions from your IRAs. If you don't plan, these RMDs can bump you into a higher tax bracket. In addition to paying the income tax on the RMDs, they might cause you to pay more on other Social Security benefits. It's a good idea to plan for these taxes ahead of time. Well in advance of your RMD age, you might want to start drawing down these assets so the RMDs don't force you into a higher Social Security tax bracket. The operative word there is might. Pending other tax considerations, beating the Social Security tax might be worth it. So please consult your financial advisor or a qualified tax professional for a little bit more guidance on this subject. You might also want to convert to a Roth IRA, which generates tax-free income. Again, please consult your financial advisor or tax specialist before doing this too. The other way to pay less Social Security is to delay it, reducing the years your income is subject to tax. Delaying Social Security benefits is primarily advantageous because of the higher benefit you'll get by delaying, but it also helps with your tax situation. Now let's move on to Medicare premiums. The Part B premium is now $174.70 monthly, up from the $164.90 last year. Even if the base premium is lower, some people will pay more due to income-related monthly adjusted, or IRMA, which we'll discuss in a minute. If you're on Social Security and you have your Medicare Part B premium deducted from your Social Security benefit, a hold harmless provision keeps your check from going down if the Social Security cost of living adjustment doesn't cover the rise in the Part B premiums. This year, the Social Security COLA was 3.2%, while the Part B premium went up 5.9%. In most cases, the dollar amount of the COLA more than covered the increase in premiums, so the hold harmless provision doesn't apply. Now, this issue is affecting more and more people every year, and it is the income related monthly adjusted amount, or IRMA, which is applied to your Medicare premiums. The IRMA is an extra premium if your modified adjusted gross income exceeds a certain threshold. In 2024, the first threshold is $103,000 if you're single or married filing separately, up from $97,000. For married couple, the first threshold is $206,000, up from $194,000 last year. MAGI, for this purpose, is adjusted gross income plus tax exempt interest. Your yearly premium is based on your tax return you filed 2 years ago. So, you are on Medicare. Your 2024 premium is based on your income you reported in 2022, but you can appeal if your income changes due to a life-changing event like retirement. In other words, if you reported a higher income in 2022 and have since retired, you can appeal the higher premium. Please note that the one-time capital gain is not grounds for an appeal. Tax return shows high income because you sold an asset that year, you will have to pay the higher premium. If your income has gone back down in 2023, your 2025 premium will be lower. And this table shows the different income levels, Part B and Part D premiums. If you're single and your income is under 103, or you're married and your income is under 206, you'll pay the regular Part B premium of $174.70. There is no income related adjustment. If your income falls into one of these other tiers, you will pay an income related adjustment on top of the base premium. So, for example, if you're in the second tier, you'll pay an extra $68.70 on Part B and $12.90 for Part D on top of your regular premiums. Keep in mind, this is per person and per month. So, if you're a couple, you can double these amounts. The income related adjustment is based on your tax return from 2 years ago. So, for example, your adjustment for 2024 is based on your income you reported on your 20 tax return. Remember, these premiums are shown here do not include those drug, Medicare supplements, or Medicare Advantage plans. This is Medicare only. There are some important dates you'll need to pay attention to. Advantage disenrollment period is from January 1st to January 31st. During this time, you can get out of a Medicare Advantage plan and go back to original Medicare, but do make sure you can get the supplemental coverage. If you are going to go back to the original Medicare, you'll want to get the gaps covered with a Medigap policy. They don't have to take you unless you apply during the Medigap open enrollment period. Generally, it's the first 6 months after enrolling for Part B. If you have health issues and you drop your Medicare Advantage plan, you may not be able to get a Medigap policy. If you are considering dropping your Medicare Advantage plan, January 1st through March 31st is the Medicare General Enrollment Period. This is for people who never signed up for Medicare when they turned 65 or left their employer's plan. If you sign up for Medicare during this time, your coverage will start the month after enrollment. The annual enrollment period for people on Medicare is October 15th to December 7th. In September, you'll receive information from your current plan about the offerings for next year. Pay attention to this because your premiums might be going up, or your coverage might change, or there might be new plans available in your area. If you currently have Medicare Advantage plans, you'll want to see how it will change for next year. If you have the original Medicare, you'll want to see how your drug plan will change over the next year as well. Then you'll want to look at other plans offered in your area to see if there might be a better deal. If so, contact the new plan by December 7th. If you do nothing, you'll be re-enrolled in your current plan for another year. What about the future of Social Security? Social Security was designed to be a pay-as-you-go system. Payroll taxes and current workers go into a trust fund and are immediately paid out to current retirees. Because baby boomers have been in their peak earning years, the trust fund has accumulated more than what's needed for current benefits. The trust fund currently holds about $2.8 trillion, which is invested in a special type of Treasury security. Now, as baby boomers retire, the trust fund assets will gradually go down. Over the next 75 years, costs will begin to exceed income. There are enough reserves that the system can pay 100% of promised benefits until 2035. After that, if nothing is done to reform the system, income will be sufficient to only cover about 83% of the promised benefits. Although the Social Security system is not in imminent danger, most people agree that the earlier reforms were instituted, the less painful they'll be on everyone. It's just the math problem that involves the increase in revenue, a cut in benefits, or a combination of these two. Here are a few of the ideas that have currently been proposed. One way to shore up the system is to increase the maximum earnings subject to Social Security tax. Currently, 168,600 earnings are subject to the 6.2% tax you and your employer paid. Raising the earnings cap or eliminating it altogether is one way to do this. Another reform proposal calls for raising the retirement age. Currently, full retirement age is 66 for people born between 1943 and 1954, and 67 for people born in 1960. An argument favoring raising the retirement age is that people are living longer. The argument against it is that most people in occupations that involve hard physical labor can't work until they're 70. Still, another reform proposal would be to change the benefit formula so that future increases would happen more slowly. This would affect the benefits of future retirees. And some are talking about changing the formula for cost of living adjustments. This could give retirees smaller benefit increases in the future, although the changes are expected to be minimal. Given that there's so many ways to reform the Social Security system, is Congress likely to address the issue this year? Probably not. And because of that, the $2.8 trillion trust fund benefits are not in immediate danger. The last time Congress made a significant change to Social Security was back in 1983. The trust fund was within a few months of running out of money, theoretically. Congress has until 2035 before they must worry about that happening. To finish up, I'd like to discuss Social Security claiming strategies. Even though these may not affect you, especially those of you who have already started taking Social Security, it's still good to know about them. Some of you watching may have heard about the strategy called file and suspend. To refresh, that's where a higher earning spouse files for their benefits and immediately suspends them. And because his record is open, the lower earning spouse can claim a spousal benefit. The Budget Act passed in November of 2018 disallowed certain spousal claiming strategies, including file and suspend. The last day to file and suspend was April 29th of 2016. So unless you place your suspension before April 29th of 2016, your spouse cannot claim a spousal benefit this way. For those of you who did suspend before the deadline, it's the primary question of making sure your spouse takes their spousal benefit at the optimal time if they haven't already. Besides that, it's a question of sitting back and waiting. Your benefit will automatically resume at age 70. The other strategy, claiming now and claiming more later, was good while it lasted. It used to be possible to claim a spousal benefit while your benefit was still building delayed credits to age 70. Congress sadly abolished this strategy back in November of 15, but people born before 1954 were grandfathered. All those people who have turned 70 and are taking their benefits now. So there's no one left to implement this strategy, claiming now and then claiming more later. Although some of the spousal loopholes have been closed, it is still possible for a lower earning spouse to receive 50% of the higher earning spouse's PIA if the lower earning spouse's benefit is lower. Please note that if the lower earning spouse claims the spousal benefit before their full retirement age, the spousal benefit will be less than 50%. Also, the other spouse must be taking their benefit. And if the higher earning spouse's benefit includes delayed credits because they claimed after the full retirement age, the spousal benefit will not be included in the delayed credits. We'd be glad to run a proposal analyzing this for you to show you when it would be the best time for you to claim your respective benefits. Please reach out to me if you're interested. Okay, that takes care of what's new with Social Security. I'd like to offer you a Social Security checkup. In working with our clients on Social Security, we've found that sometimes people miss out on benefits because they don't know they could claim them. Here's some examples I've come across with clients and uncovered over the last several years. A married couple who never added on her spouse benefit after her husband had filed. For example, in doing Social Security checkups, we see if the lower earning spouse's benefit is significantly lower than 50% of the higher earning spouse's benefit. This could suggest the lower earning spouse filed first and claimed their smaller benefit. Then, sometime later, their husband filed for their benefit. They would have to have had to apply for the spousal benefit, which they didn't know about. Our Social Security checkups reveal things like this. Another was a divorced person who didn't know they could claim a spousal benefit off their ex-spouse. Not everyone can do this because your benefit must be less than half of your ex's. It's always good to check. Our checkups can discover and help out people who've been divorced determine if they still can receive benefits and get the ones that they're entitled to. Divorced person whose ex-spouse has passed away. If a person was married for over 10 years and ex-spouse has died, they may be able to get a survivor benefit based on that ex-spouse's earnings record, which could be higher than their own. And this is not limited just to women. Social Security is gender neutral. Divorced men have been able to claim benefits on their ex-spouse's working record. If you or anyone you know would like a Social Security checkup, we can help you identify possible benefits, explore claiming strategies, and see how Social Security fits into the rest of your retirement income plan. There's a link to my calendar to set up an initial consultation below. Okay, well, this concludes our 24 Social Security update presentation. Thanks for joining us.